Today we're going to be showing how to create a simple indicator. We will be using the moving average, a simple moving average, as our example, and we'll be looking to duplicate the default moving average that is produced or provided by Tradestation. So currently we have open, Tradestation is open. We have a desktop that we've called Simple Indicator and a workspace called Simple Indicator. So the first thing we want to do is to set up a chart, and we are going to use the futures continuous contract for our chart. So the way we do that is we will click on this little icon right here for a chart, and we are going to use the ES continuous contract. We will plot that, and we want to do 15 minutes, and we only need a few days here, so we'll just do the last 5 days. And so now we have a chart to work with. So we're going to go ahead and insert an existing indicator, the one that we're going to essentially try to duplicate. And we're going to put in the moving average for a single line. This is a indicator that comes with Tradestation, so you should have this already on your system. And it has 3 inputs: price, length, and displacement. We will not be going into details on the displacement. We will be purely looking at the price and the length as inputs and duplicating that part of the indicator. The value for price can be the close of the bar or the interval that you're looking at, the high, the low. You can actually do a calculation in here, and we'll show how to do that later. And then the length, the default length that was in here was 9 periods, so we're just going to leave that length as it is. And so now you can see we have our moving average on here, and this is the indicator that we are going to show how to duplicate that indicator. So let's start by going into the development environment. So we're going to click on View, and then we're going to go to Development Environment, and that will open up this window here, which is the Tradestation development environment. This is where we do our coding for our indicators or strategies or various functions and that sort of thing. So let's open up the simple moving average that we are going to try to duplicate. So the one thing that Tradestation has done for you is that they have given you lots of code for lots of indicators and strategies, and they have given you the source to it as well. So we're going to open up the moving average one line, and we can use that as our example. So here, so what we have here in the code, so let's go through some of the commands that are in the simple moving average. So at the top you'll see, and I will move this down a bit so you can see it better, we have inputs, and those are the 3 inputs that we saw when we opened up the properties for this particular indicator. So you can see we have the price, the length, and the displacement. And then below that we have variables, and this is where you declare the variables that you're going to use in your strategy. And then we also have a function in here called the average FC, and that is a function that Tradestation provided so that you can call that function without having to do all the programming for doing an average. So now what we're going to do is we are going to open up the window for a new indicator. So we did File, New, and we want this to be an indicator. Okay, and then we are going to name our indicator. I'll call it my AVG one line indicator. Okay, and then here we have the option to use a template that Tradestation provides for you. So there's several different templates that you can choose from. We're not going to go into details on these. We're just going to select the single plot indicator, select OK, and you can see that Tradestation has given quite a bit of details about this particular indicator. Everything in green are comments that Tradestation has provided to describe the indicator and how to use this template. So the actual code that gets compiled starts down here with the value 1 and the plot, and then there's some code down here at the bottom to create an alert. So for our simple moving average, we really just want to duplicate the code that we have here for the average of the price. So we can actually copy this code and put it into our indicator where this formula is. So the text that's in these carets here is input, where you would actually change the strategy to be customized for your custom indicator that you're building. Now initially we are going to give it a price. We're not going to use it as an input. We're just going to give it the price that we want to use, and then we'll come back and we'll show how to do the inputs. So we're going to hard code in here some inputs. So the Tradestation default indicator was a period of 9, a length of 9, and we're going to use 21 so that we can differentiate between our moving average and the one that Tradestation has as the default, so we can see both lines on the chart. And we are going to call this plot my moving average. And then once we've done that, we can actually go ahead and we can let Tradestation validate the code that we've done, so that we can see that we have code that is acceptable to the compiler. And as you can see down here at the bottom, we had 0 errors and 0 warnings, so we know that it compiled okay. So now let's go in and add this new indicator that we just created to our chart. So what we're going to do is insert indicator, and then we're going to find our new indicator that we created, my average one-line indicator. We're going to click on OK. And you'll notice we have no inputs for this indicator. We have not programmed in any inputs. We're going to see that our color is going to be red, so we can see where it goes, and we hard-coded in a 21 period moving average, so it will look somewhat different than the 9 period that's on here. So let's click on OK and see what that looks like. So the default for the indicator was to put it on a subgraph. We really don't want that, so what we need to do is we need to change our indicator so that it's on the same graph as the price. So the way we do that is we go up here and we clicked on Format Analysis Techniques. We're going to click on our indicator. We're going to do Format. We're going to Scale, and we can see that it's on the subgraph 2. So we want to change that on to subgraph 1. Click on OK, and it is changing the axis scaling to no axis, which is fine. And then we close that out, and now we have our indicator that is essentially a duplication of the moving average that came with Tradestation. However, we did not include the displacement, and we don't have inputs at this point. So now let's show how we go in there and we add an input to this indicator. So we're going to bring our code back over, And we're going to come in here and we are going to copy the code from our moving average. We want these inputs. So copy. And so we're going to paste that in there. So now we have 3 inputs, and we don't really care about this displacement for this exercise, so we're going to take that one out. So we just have the 2 inputs, the price and the length. Now we're going to change our calculation. Rather than it being hard-coded, we're going to use the variable, or the input variable, price, and we're going to use the input variable for length rather than hard-coding the length. And then we are going to validate. We have 0 errors and 0 warnings. So now we're going to go back and look at our indicator, and we're going to see how we can go in now and we can change our indicator because we have some inputs now. So go to inputs, and we have 9-period moving average, which was the default, and we can change that to just checking to make sure I was on the right indicator. We can change that. So let's just say we want to change that to a 50-period moving average, and let's see what that does for us. Okay, so now there's our 50-period moving average, and here's the default one that came to Tradestation. So that concludes our session on how to create a simple indicator, and I hope that was helpful for you, and thanks for watching.